Hi, I'm Wei Ling. We are doing the presentation of our assignment, which is the case study 4.6. The title of our case study is Digital Photography and Manipulation of Reality. Before that, I would like to give a simple introduction about our case study. This case involved in the area of journalism. It is basically a quarrel between two political persons in an abortion war. The quarrel scene was captured by a journalist and planned to post and highlight on the newspaper front page. But the question is, in the background of the photo can clearly saw an aborted fetus in a jar. So, should the journalist publish the image on the media? I will pass to my other group member to explain about the issue.
Hello, I'm Pei Ying. Now I'm going to talk about the issue in this case. The first issue in this case is women's rights.
Joshua St. Clair, the national leader of the Lifeline Coalition, had advocated anti-abortion, while Carla Alvarez, a prominent attorney, was just as determined to defend the women of Lewiston against the moral onslaught of the Reverend St. Clair.
Alvarez was committed to rekindling the feminist liberation movement of the 1970s, and she was insisting that women's right to control their bodies is a precedent for all other rights. Next, another issue in this case is aborted fetus.
The chief photographer, Brian Fogel, had captured the accent of the story unfolded at the Maplewood Women's Pavilion, and he believed that this image would highlight the color on the Gazette front page. However, the editor Samuel Gates wasn't so confident, because in the center of the photo, in the background but clearly visible, was a placard with an aborted fetus in a jar.
Then the issue in this case is offensive.
If the news organization published the image of the aborted fetus, this may offend some readers.
Besides, the other issue in this case is deceptive. If the news organization chooses to smear or take the message out, this will deceive the readers.
Any manipulation that will change the meaning of the photo or story is immoral. Journalists and editors are not allowed to manipulate the facts and reality to deceive the readers.
Last but not least, the issue in this case is the reputation of the news organization.
Gazette was a family newspaper and on a duty to its readers to treat them with civility, while providing them with an accurate account of the day's events. Hence, Gazette have the responsibility to tell the readers the truth, and might not use the digital manipulation to deceive the readers to keep the credibility of the news organization.
Hi, I am Khairunnisa and I am going to talk about past analysis. Past analysis consists of political, economic, socio-cultural, and also technological. Regarding our issue with the digital editing which can manipulate the reality, from the view of political, it is unethical to show the readers an image which is wrong by the law. Even though abortion was legal in the US since 1973, but still some states restricting the abortion. If the gatekeeper did not filter the image that is published in the newspaper, it will obviously create a misinterpretation that they are supporting the idea of abortion. As a media practitioner, we must know how to clarify values, which I believe has been taught in every religion that supporting abortion is bad conduct. While from the view of economic, the newspaper company is a profit-making organization. Pressure to sell the newspaper obviously arising in order to have the revenue. In our case study, Gates, the editor of Gazette, and McBride, the photo editor, was having the same thought, which are they want to sell the story of the Maplewood Women's Pavilion demonstration. But we should not be promoting something which will imbalance the moral ecology. It is because some readers might not be mature enough to think in a rational way either abortion is good or wrong. Next, the view from socio-cultural. Gazette must be aware when publishing a content because their readers might be coming from the diverse background with a different way of thinking and a different way of accepting. The image of a fetus in a jar might be very offensive to some readers, and this will impose a bad review. Not only that, it might trigger a negative feeling towards the readers as well. Some of them might be angry, sad, frustrated, and even worse is trauma with what they just saw. I've read some writing in a website called Psychology Today. The writer, Dr. Deborah L. Davis, says people who are exposed to violence or disturbing image would probably be traumatized, will become aggressive, and also will lose sensitivity towards other people. Last but not least, I'm going to talk from the view of technology. Technology keeps changing very fast and frequent. We as a media people should know how to stick with the flow and utilize the technology but not to misuse it. McBride, the photo editor, wanted to smear the unwanted image in their photograph, but Gates felt that it would be a deceit for the readers. Not just a deceiving, but regarding to the 7 News article, there is a research that has been done in 1992 in Geneva report that image can tell a story and convey a message quickly, which means it is very good for a newspaper company because story which could catch readers' attention and easy to understand will make a lot of profit and also increase the readers.
I would like to talk about the theory that involved in our case study. Our case studies talk about the photographer and the manipulated of the reality. There are 2 theories that involved in our case study, such as the consequentialist theory and non-consequentialist theory. When we talk about the consequentialist theory, is about utilitarianism theory and egoism theory. Non-consequentialist theory is about the ethics of dati. Go back to the consequentialist theory. Other than moral harm principle is to support our case study for the smearing the sight of the fetus with the reason as following: not to offend the reader and not to bring back the memory of those reader who lost their baby in the past. Continue to the ethics egoism, support the smearing the sign of the fetus with the reason of the self-interest, make on decision to get the benefit, instead the interest to the reader. Moreover, when we talk about the utilitarianism or risk-benefit analysis, support the smearing the sign of the fetus to bring the happiness, feeling joy to the reader. Now, let's talk about the non-consequentialist theory. According to the Rose, that is promoting a good decision to smear the sign of the fetus, even it is injustice, through the deceiving the reader. Last but not least, Kant's categorical imperative support the photographer Brian Folger to publish the picture as it is, no matter the feedback from the reader. And there is an example for the religion, that is Christian faith. When we talk about the eighth commandment, through the shalt not bear witness against thy neighbor. Do not deceive the reader.
I will talk about the SWOT analysis SWOT of this case study issue. There will be 2 strengths, which are the strong portfolio of brand and a fantastic shot. The Gazette was a family newspaper in Weston, and it had an impressive list of awards for photojournalism since Fogel's arrival at the paper. Fogel prided himself on discovering real stories with his journalistic instinct and packaging them in the most vivid and dramatic way. The abortion story was not exception. The next strength is the fantastic shot. It was taken by the Brian Fogel, the chief photographer of the
Lewiston Gazette. Vogel had captured the very essence of the story that was folding in the neighborhood women's pavilion.
Vogel was confident that it would be featured prominently in color on Gazette's front page. In the photo, Sinclair and Everett were surrounded by the demonstrators, and the personal animosity between two of them were clearly captured. This dramatic photo would certainly reinforce the Gazette's goals of improving its visual coverage to enhance the paper's marketing potential.
Then let's move to the weakness part, the aborted fetus in the photo.
However, in the photo, among the demonstrators around, one of them is more prominent than others. In the center of the photo, in the background but clearly visible, was a placard with an adored fetus in a jar.
It is uneasy to run this photo on the front page with the aborted fetus. It will offend some of the reader, especially if it run in color. However, there is an opportunity of digital photo manipulation.
According to the case study, the newspaper invested millions of dollars in digital technology, enabling the photo editor to reconstruct or modify the photograph without the faintest hint of hand retouching.
Therefore, they can edit the photo, either removing or smelling the side to avoid offending its reader. But there are some threats also. The threat will be
the decline in the paper credibility and the integrity of the enterprise. As mentioned, the Gazette was a family newspaper, and it owed a duty to its readers to treat them with civility, while providing them with an accurate account of the day's event.
as editor, Gates must protect the integrity of his enterprise. Although digital photo manipulation may help to remove the sign, but if the reader learns of this manipulation, the paper's credibility will suffer, and the Gazette may acquire a reputation of doctoring the photos.
Besides this, the publishing law is also considered as a trade. According to the publishing law, publishers must be careful with the forms of content because the content that contains hatred or bias can be counted as violating the rule of publishing.
As long as a journalist, we must know how to do ethical judgment on the image that we snap. For example, not just to respect the reader feeling that we need to smear the aborted baby image, but a criminal face sometimes need to be smeared in the newspaper to show our concern of their dignity.
Lastly, I would like to talk about the recommendation of our group to the case study. If we are the media practitioners, we would like to publish the photo in color on the front page, but we will blur out or mosaic the signs with the aborted fetus in a jar. It is because it won't make the reader feel discomfort. Also, it is not any deceptive to the reader as well. At the same time, the hostility between the two persons can be clearly expressed. In conclusion, in today's technologically advanced era, it is easy to change and modify a photographic image. Editing the image is allowed when necessary. Any manipulation that will change the meaning of the photo or story is immoral. Journalists and editors are not allowed to manipulate the facts and reality to deceive the readers. That is all about our presentation. Thank you.